Welcome to Shooting the Shift with Marilyn and Elizabeth. These light warriors, both native New Yorkers, walk their walk, talk their talk, and keep the real in the deal. This dynamic duo joined forces to assist you through your transformational journey one step at a time, empowering you with spiritual tools you can use in your daily life. Each show begins as a conversation creating an opening for spiritual connection. There are never any scripts, and Spirit is always illuminating the way. And that's when the shift hits the fan. The magical messages of the ancestors, spirit guides, and Gaia are respected, honored, and always given sacred space to communicate. Join Marilyn and Elizabeth as they shake shift up and do what they do best, speak from their hearts.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Shooting the Shift with Miss Marilyn and Miss Elizabeth. I'm Miss Elizabeth. Miss Marilyn, are you there?
Oh, yeah. I'm present.
Yay! Well, it took a lot to get you to be present today.
Exactly. Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
what'd you say?
I said, no, with computer just breaking down and, my husband, just got diagnosed with COVID. And so it's like, this has been like interesting week, to say the least, right? And it's only the beginning.
Yes. And so
Yeah.
how is your husband feeling?
Oh, he's doing really well.
Good.
I mean, he's doing really well. It's called a lot of love, right? And a lot of really good remedies and teas and, making sure that he stays as healthy as he can possibly, get, right? And so,
Marilyn, say the sexy word. He's married to a what? A curandera.
curandera.
A curandera. I can't even say it. But listen, I mean, good, because that guy got any more cushy. I mean, you got the woo-woo, the juju, and I know you're like taking care of the fluids and the food.
Oh,
and the,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
making those remedies, to make sure that he stays, this morning, because he's in quarantine, so this morning I said, how are you feeling this morning? Like I do every single day, right?
Yes,
and he's like,
I'm sorry.
I really do
I'm
feel so
laughing.
much better.
Oh,
I feel
yeah.
so much better this morning. And I said, okay,
Yeah.
that's what I was hoping for.
Oh,
Right?
good.
Yeah.
I was laughing
yeah.
because I had a vision of me throwing a cold grilled cheese down the basement to my husband.
Oh, no.
I'm just not as nice as you are, and I'm not
talking
a cook,
about,
so
I'm talking
know.
about homemade chicken soup with
I
all the beautiful
know.
herbs and, the ginger, all that beautiful stuff in there, fresh herbs and, just like I was, of course, taking it as well because I'm going, you guys are sleeping in the same bed, sharing, I think this is something that you need to be on top of as well. But I really feel really healthy and whole. And, I've been practicing, just healing the self, right, as well. So here we go, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And you're feeling good, There's a lot of
Yeah.
people that get COVID and they don't even know they had it, and there's a lot of people that, have very mild symptoms, and I hope and pray that we are at the end of the worst of this, because I was getting on a plane in June. I'm flying across the pond, and that's all I care about talking about. Isn't it terrible?
Yeah, but you know
You'll be
what? The
so
other
sick
thing
of me.
is, we
Yeah,
have to
go
just
ahead.
be mindful, right? Still be mindful of, I understand
course.
that everybody's saying, mask off, don't worry about it and all this kind of stuff. And so you have a lot of people with the mask off and, and there you go, So it's
Yep.
the extra precautions, right? You just take extra precautions. Because it's still out there, It's still out there.
Yeah.
So,
And you were surprised it showed up at your door.
I know. I went like this and I said, I think it's here. Now let's see. And we did the test and sure enough, yep, it was.
So did you do the test on you? Have you done a test on you yet?
No, because the test if you don't have symptoms, it doesn't read it.
It's not accurate.
Yeah, it doesn't read it. So if I have a symptom, then definitely I will do it. But if I don't have a symptom, then I think by Thursday I'm going to do it anyway, just to see. But yeah, I feel the same. I feel healthy. I don't feel like any disturbance in my system. You know me, I'm always reading my body for signs. So I'm like, yeah, you're doing pretty good, girl. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, this is not all about me. Today we're supposed to be talking about...
No, but it is about relationships. And you are in a relationship with somebody that is getting better, thank goodness.
Yes,
so
yeah. And so we're looking...
Yeah.
Right.
Go ahead,
and we're looking at the sacred in every relationship, right? So that's the theme, right? So look at this, right? Such a sacred relationship, right? My husband and I, and, how we, will take care of each other, right? Through thick and thin, this is just, what the agreement was, right?
Can I backtrack a little bit? Like, I don't want people to think like I've got a rabid dragon, chained in the basement that I'm married to. I want to clarify, I'm not an evil person. I'm not a curandera, and I don't make homemade chicken soup. I can do some things, but you're tough competition. Not that I'm competing with you in any
everybody
way,
does.
Yes.
Well, everybody does what they do best, right?
I just wanted to clarify. People were thinking somebody was being abused in my house while I was on the radio. Yeah, clearly you win.
They'll call in the
We're
guards,
staying
right?
with you if we need you. Yeah,
I do that, when anybody's sick or whatever, it's like, let's get this chicken soup going because, that was my, my mom's thing, and it always made us feel so much better, right? We make it with so much love, and we make sure that we put all the ingredients in it that can uplift, right? And that when you're eating it, you feel loved, right? There you go. And that's enough, right? And that's enough to, to get you to feel better, right? So yeah. And this morning I had a sacred sister call me as well, and we were talking, and it was so interesting because I'm thinking, oh boy, we're talking about the sacred in every relationship. And we were talking, and I was saying, yeah, sometimes we got to push ourselves gently out of our comfort zone, right? Because we're needing to find our own rhythm, right? The rhythm that is us. And I was like, yeah, it's the same thing for, all our relationships, right? Is to find the sacred in every relationship that we have, right? And to tune into that rhythm and into that frequency of the relationship that we're having. I was like, wow, that was really interesting, because, we get to talking, and then the next thing you know, there's all kinds of stuff that comes through. But I thought that was so powerful because I'm like, yeah, because we are rediscovering the self, and why wouldn't we be working on our own internal rhythm, right? That's part of the self. So I was like, oh, that's so connected. Wow.
Yes. Well, what would you say, like, is this too big of a question? You're one of your most formidable relationships of your life.
Okay, so
for me,
tell me.
Yeah, go ahead.
I
put you on this. Well, I was going to say for me. Well, for me, it would definitely be my mother because she was like my rock, and she had the wherewithal to leave a situation that was very hard to leave and had the strength to do that when I was young. And so I had an advocate, and she really did change my life. And she had some parents from the South that had certain expectations of who she should be, and she kind of embraced her rebel soul and did it her way. And she was just my rock. And I lost her, gosh, I can't even believe it's been 14 years, but she's with me all the time now in a different way, which is one of the beauties of the mediumship work that I do. But she probably is the most formidable relationship in my life. And I will say one of the most supportive, right? Because you can love your mother and have a great relationship and be grateful for her, but it not necessarily one of your most supportive either. So, but I feel blessed for that, and I feel blessed that I'm pretty sure I really like was on the waiting list to get in there and like come and have her as my mom on the other side. That's my point.
Yeah,
Like she always
yeah.
said, well, your brother, like she had people tell her, it's not so important. He would come into almost anybody, but your daughter was like waiting for you. So I definitely had a soul contract with her probably in this life, and I feel blessed for her strength and her endurance. And, the tentacles of that helped me be brave. She didn't coddle me. She didn't make things easy on me. She gave me strength when I needed it. I mean, she kicked me out when I was 18 and I was so angry, but it was the best thing she ever did because my dad had recently passed when I was 18. But I was so strong and independent and knew how to find my own way, right? And those are the tools she gave me. That's why I choose her as one of my most formidable. What about you?
Wow, you're talking and I'm going like this. Wow, I've had quite a few.
I know,
feel
me
like
too, but
I feel like
yeah.
there's such, I've been so truly blessed, and I'm always thankful and grateful. And they are on the other side now. And it's like my grandmother. My grandmother was a powerhouse. She had such gifts, and she shared them, and it was just like, wow, this is really good, because she was also like my confidant. I could tell her anything, and she would just listen, and then sometimes she would just provide that guidance, and then and I saw her in her how would I say, in her life, the way she was, how powerful she was. She didn't like, she said it like it was. She didn't like make it like this gentle stuff. She called it out as it needed to be called out, and she was gentle, but at the same time, you needed to hear it a little bit differently. She gave it to you that way too. And my mom,
Yes.
my mom just backed me up with everything. Like, there was whatever it was, she just backed me up. She just said, you just do it. You just do it. She never like put the doubt in me. My mother never put the doubt in me. I never felt that. Like, I always felt so powerful because it's like she had my back, right? And it was like that,
Yep.
And then my father just taught me so much as well, because he had so much struggling in life, in just blending and trying to navigate, a system that he wasn't that, how would I say, familiar with. So he taught me that. He taught me to be strong through it. He taught me to stand in my truth no matter what, and always to remember, my dad always used to say, your word is all you have.
Yes.
Like, he just, that
Yeah.
was a thing, and I owned that, I kept that, and that still lives in me, but it's like, I look at my life and I say, gosh, I've been so blessed and so treasured, and my
Yep.
daughter, oh God, my daughter pushed me in ways that I have to say that I honor her as my teacher. I honor her as my teacher, because she came here to teach me to be fearless, to be fearless, because, I needed her so badly, right? And she appeared and she came, and I'm so thankful that she chose me, and so I'm blessed with that. So, wow, there's just like all these, and there's just so much, right? Sacred sisters, sacred brothers, meeting you and having you in my life as well, right? And
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
all of this, I look and I say, it's because we say yes.
Right.
sometimes there's discomfort, right? Sometimes there's discomfort, but we allow ourselves. Yes.
You know what? We were having a conversation right before we got on because you were having the computer issues, yada, yada, yada. And you were talking about how you were just going to make stuff happen. And I was like, I'm like that too. I'm just going to decide and I make stuff happen.
Yeah.
And I call that gumption. And I think a lot of people, it always surprises me when I meet people that don't have gumption. I try to be like really kind because I'm like, doesn't everybody have gumption? Don't you just decide you're going to get it done and get it done? And of course, no, of course not everybody's the same. But this is what you're making me think of as you're talking, because I think you and I have that quality, quality where we're just like, listen, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to make this happen.
Yeah, and push through it, right? And push through it.
Yes.
And even when it feels uncomfortable, right? Or it's a new, let's say like for instance, if it's something new that you're attempting, like I can say, when my computer went down and I'm thinking, okay, I was in that place of, I'll order another one and I'll get it delivered. And then I find out that you can't get it delivered until Friday. And I said, yeah, but the radio show is Wednesday. So this isn't going to work.
Right.
So then I'm trying to put it on my iPad. So I'm trying all different kinds of ways. And then I realized that I can't use my headphones on my iPad. So then here we go. Now I'm going, okay, so then what else can I do? And then I said, find your old computer, the laptop, and see, first check to see if the headphones will work. And once they did, I said, then you download the program, and then you'll be able to do this. Because I always go like this. I don't want to surrender in defeat, right? I want to be able to say, I'm going to do this. This is going to get done. And I'm going to, this challenge, I'm going to meet this challenge. And I felt so good because I said, you did it. Look at that. And it was like, what, maybe 10, 15 minutes before the show. So I was like, oh, girl, you are too much. But
sweetheart, I can't believe that we're already here because we're already here at our first break and we didn't even put our phone number out. So I think we should, we need to put our phone number out to let people know how to call us.
202-570-7057.
Yay.
Bringing a more conscious lifestyle to your world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network.
My name is Victor Furman. Some call me The Voice. I've always been fascinated with human nature, spirituality, science, and the crossroads at which they meet. Join me Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio, and we'll explore these topics and so much more on Destination Unlimited.
So I'm a cat, and I just moved in with this new human, and she's got this little toy she's always playing with, all day long. Tap, 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 bloop, bloop. She can't put it down. There it is. Oh, and get this. She even talks to it. Last week, she asked it for Chinese, and guess what? Egg rolls showed up. Like magic. Humans have cool toys.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
I have to say I am the best advocate for adoption and rescues because I have 6 of them.
Yes. Yeah.
So 3 dogs and 3 cats. And no, none of them are going across the pond with me. They are well cared for. I should be so lucky and come back as one of them. But the problem is, finding the right human.
Yeah, definitely,
There's
right?
only one me, right? I'm the curandera. I know I butcher that word to my animals. So, sweetheart,
Yeah.
yeah, so let's throw that number out again one more time, just 'cause.
Okay, it's 202 570 7057. Feel free to
Nice.
call.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the one thing that always comes up for me about relationships is the thing that I have found the most helpful to me in these years, in the last 5 years, maybe even 10, I have to say, is Mother Teresa, which I think is a misquote. I think it's from a poem, but I think that they give it to Mother Teresa, so I don't know if it's like they're paraphrasing her or not, but in the end, it's never between you and them. It's always between you and God.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that because it helps me in so many ways. When I see something about a mistreated animal or a mistreated child or certain things that are hard for me and there is no answer, I know that God is holding the situation. I have faith in that. I have faith that Spirit is holding the situation. But also with relationships, there's so many people I think that call me, clients that want help with closure. I didn't get the closure I wanted. And for me, I have found the number one thing is acceptance, right? If you can
Mm-hmm.
accept that you were wronged, that, whether your face was in the gutter, whatever it was that happened to you, you take the lesson and you move on and you accept that it couldn't be any other way. That's the only thing I've ever found that kind of frees me and releases me from, the closure when you can't get it with someone. I know that's a little off point of what we were talking about, but
No, no, it
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 was
it,
just the
it fits
highlight.
in. Yeah.
Yeah, because it really does make sense. And I know it sounds easy to the brain, right? Like, oh, accept, yada, yada. But the heart, no, it's like a bicep. You have to kind of reel yourself back in every time you get caught up in that story and you go,
Yeah.
oh, wait a minute. And you like kind of ease yourself into healing it. And that's the one
Yeah.
thing I found has been the most helpful for me with non-closure. That's we all don't get closure sometimes.
Yeah, and sometimes we'll, it's just that's just the way it is. We may never have closure to something, right? But we can provide that to ourselves. It's the understanding that, whatever it was that happened, it's like waiting for an apology that you'll never get, right? So it's also understanding that so this experience that I have, gone through, what am I learning from this experience? Because we have to remember something, that we have a lot of stories and we have a lot of cellular memories within our bodies that are holding these stories. And a lot of times what happens is that, we if we don't and because I want to shift it to the relationship thing, right?
Yeah.
And we have so many different relationships in our lives, and every relationship is different. It holds a different energy, it holds a different rhythm, it holds a different understanding, right? And so when we're able to understand the type of relationship that we're having with each person in our lives, right, then we kind of have a better understanding when we meet certain challenges with certain people, right? Because sometimes certain people come into our lives and they're challenging us and we don't like it, right? Because we feel uncomfortable and we don't want to be uncomfortable. That's not what we want. And so we fight against it. But sometimes the other thing is understanding that, what is this about? What is this challenge about? And does it reflect anything in my life? Like I hear sometimes people say, and here I go again in the same, situation again. It's just continues to be presented to me
Yeah.
in this new relationship, whether it's a friendship or whether it's a, a partnership or, a love relationship, whatever it is, family, ties, whatever it is. It's understanding that it keeps coming up for a reason, and maybe it's exploring the relationship that we have with this person and what what expectation we kind of placed on this relationship. Because that's important too. Sometimes we're not aware of the what expectations we had when we are creating this relationship, right, together. So if we become aware of it, then we understand that when we're getting triggered, why we're getting triggered, because the expectation that was set is not being met, right? And so other things come up. And so it's also about going back inside. I love going inside, right? Because when I'm able to explore how it is that I'm feeling from the inside out, right, I'm able to take a better look at what actually is the energy that's surging through me and rising up to the surface to be seen.
Marilyn, did I lose you?
No,
You went quiet for a second.
Yeah, because I wanted to see if you had something to say, because remember, we're not...
Oh, you know what? You're so sweet. I mean, usually we just cut each other off, I mean, this is like two girls having coffee talk, right?
Yeah.
Well, we like to meet each other and we like to see each other. So we usually Zoom before the show so we can just like have a conversation together, because Marilyn's in New York and I'm in Colorado. And so it feels weird to have a show where I'm not actually seeing you, right? Looking at you.
It's different, right? Because then I can't tell if you want to say something or not. And I didn't want to take up all the space, right? Even though I know I can if I want to.
Yes. Well, you're going to be flying solo in the month of June. So it's good practice for you.
Yeah.
I mean, there's that song by Willie Nelson. It's like, I've got a couple more years on you, babe, and that's all. That was one of my mom's favorite songs. It's like, it's not that I'm wiser. It's just that I've had my back more times to the wall, It's the experience, right? Yeah. And, you are doing really good. And I don't think people just don't realize on the back end what we go through to make a show happen. I mean, I'm so impressed by our intro. I just want to play that for, and listen to that. It makes me feel so good when I listen to it.
Me too. Yeah.
I'm like, I like those girls. Yeah. I should tune into them. Yeah. And so, I can see a direct correlation in my personal growth to my friendships and how they have evolved, Sadly, one of my dearest friends, my oldest and dearest friend, has early onset dementia. And so that was really hard for me, because she's one of the only people that I've known for like most of my life as a young person. And you share those experiences and those memories with people. And, it feels like another loss, another grief. And I think that, like, people know a reason, a season, a lifetime. I've been married to my second husband for 15 years, and I will say that he has absolutely been one of my greatest teachers and has reflected back to me so much of my soul growth, of how I had to change, how I had to look at things I didn't want to, and that's why I was talking about that Mother Teresa quote, because it's really never about the other person. It's always really about yourself, what you will accept, what you won't, what you will tolerate, what you won't, why are you tolerating certain things, or why are you in a relationship with someone, you can... if you want to look in a mirror at all your ugly bits, get in a relationship. An intimate relationship, because you could try and point the finger at another person all you want, but you picked them, and you also picked them because they had something to teach you, show you, or help heal you, or all three.
Yeah, an expansion, right? Because when we're able to say, Okay. I'm feeling, why am I speaking in the way, in the tone that I'm speaking? Why am I communicating the way I'm communicating? Why am I so angry about this? Why am I so emotionally charged over, it could be something really simple, right? And sometimes what happens is that we get to a place in our lives when we say, hold on. This is not about that other person. Whether it's
Right.
whether it's, no matter what the relationship is, it's
Yep.
really always about us. It's really always about
Yep.
what is the internal dialogue? What is the
Yep.
internal communication that we're having with ourselves, and that we're believing in that moment to create this storm sometimes, right? That is like, we're looking at it and we're going,
Yeah.
what in the world just
And how do
happened
we
here?
pick people? Like, how do we pick people? Like, you've heard like, oh, I married my mother, I married my father. I mean, how do we do that? I mean, you could be in a room full of people at a party, and you're going to go to the one person that's going to help you with your issues. It doesn't
and I
matter
think a lot of
what
times
they
it's-
look like. Yeah.
Yes.
You know what
I
I'm
think
saying? I'm like, that
Yeah.
is spirit working. That is not attraction. I mean, I'm not saying you can't be attracted to someone, right, chemistry wise, but that's the one way I look at that. It's like, out of 7 billion people on the earth, you pick that person and you just randomly have all of this stuff that is making you look at yourself and your experiences. That is not a mistake.
No, I think that
No.
a lot of time I think that a
Yep.
lot of times, right, there is this soul agreement that somewhere along the lines, you were going to, meet this
Bam,
person
run into
and
each other.
yes, and have whatever relation. And the other thing is, see, it could be an agreement that was an agreement not for a lifetime, but it was only for a
Yeah.
season, or it was only for, a teaching, right? And then it was to move on, right? But sometimes, like we said in prior shows, right? Sometimes we just want to hold on to something that doesn't fit. And so that's important too, is recognizing, oh, what am I learning here? But the other thing is, we might continue to learn depending on how open we are to diving inward and to say, what is this here to teach me, and what is it that I need to learn from this? And sometimes we are in relationships where we have to say, I'm learning, right, how to save myself. I'm learning to put myself first. I'm learning that I matter. I'm learning that I'm important. I'm learning that I can do this all on my own if I so choose to. And these are things that, because sometimes people say, oh no, that doesn't really work because, I got into this relationship, but it's really, like so unhealthy, whatever the reasons are. And I'll say, what have you learned from that? Right? What are you learning about yourself? Let's learn about ourselves. If we're in a relationship, then we got to learn about ourselves so that we can empower ourselves, so that we can be more discerning on the next time around, right? So we can have clear vision, so we can have this clarity, this vision, that is so clear, right? And then we know, because we are resilient, right? In our self-reflecting, right? So this is important. These things are, it's just, how would I say, they're stepping stones, right? That we take.
Yes.
And it's important not to judge it. Right? It's important not to judge it, because what happens is when we judge these experiences as, look at what you did. Look at how could you have done that? How could you have chosen this? How can you have this? Da, 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 and you just beat yourself down. Then you're not learning. You're not learning, because what you're doing is, what the body is doing is, the body now is collecting all of that again. It's recollecting this energy and it's feeding it back in. Instead of saying, you know what? Wow, yeah, I chose that. And you know what? I'm learning. And you know what I'm learning? That I'm a powerful force, man. That I can, I can weather any and every storm. That I have the ability to choose what it is that I want. And I have the right to, and I have the power to do it when I want, right?
Right, man.
Huh?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I don't like it when people man me, like when I'm at Trader Joe's and somebody says, well, have a nice day, ma'am. I'm like, wait a minute. Does that mean I'm middle-aged or you're just from the South and polite?
Oh.
Right. But you were saying, man, you just made me laugh. My favorite comic strip, is, and I think I've said this on the show before, but, it's like you're at the door and they say, when you finally figure out who's been sabotaging and destroying your life, and then they open the door and it's you with a gun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just love that because it's so true. We want to point the finger. And look, this isn't about boundaries. This isn't about, tolerating stuff. There's a lot of stuff we don't tolerate. That's not what we're talking about today. What we're talking about is, what's okay with you and what can you do with you in a relationship, because you're the only one you have any control over. Really, that's essentially what it comes down to. Is you have a control on how you handle and you behave in reaction to maybe someone not treating you well or somebody treating you very well. You always have freedom of choice. Yes,
exactly. And it's finding the sacred in your own relationship with yourself.
That's
with
right.
yourself, because if we can't find that, if we can't find the sacred in that, then we are having more difficulties in our lives, right? Because we are putting everyone else above us, and we're forgetting, the power that lives within us, the wisdom that lives within us. So those are all, really important steps, to have, right? To trust your process. Right? And focus on, what you're, on your magnificence, right? Just focus on that,
Yeah. Because exactly, whether you think you're right or you think you're wrong, you're right both ways. You determine the outcome. So
exactly,
if you take your power back, and this is hard to learn, I'll tell you, it does go into boundaries, because I have ended friendships, or they have organically ended. I mean, it's not like I cut somebody off, but I have had relationships end because I said no.
Yes, and that's okay.
No, I'm sorry. No, I'm not okay with that. That's not going to be okay for me. And they didn't like it. It wasn't even because I ended anything. It was because, that maybe they had an expectation that I would do something for them, and I had had enough. And that's healthy.
And think of the power in that, though. But think of the power in that, because in that moment, if you didn't realize it in that moment, what you were saying is, I choose me, and I will not, right, compromise myself to have you in my life. And the other thing is that person said, well, I want what I want. Yeah. And if I can't have it, then I'm out.
I'm out of here. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
You know what? We got to be out of here, too. We're a minute past our break, darling.
Oh.
Well, we love to ramble on,
I'm telling you, this is so good.
Yes. Like a fly on the wall, Miss Marilyn and Miss Elizabeth. We'll be right back.
Your conscious connection to a more mindful world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Ascending Hearts is no ordinary dating site, but a spiritual dating site with a purpose, to link you with your soulmate. We engineer the serendipity so you can trust that you will attune with someone that has the same matching vibration as you. Ascending Hearts, the conscious dating site for the spiritually aware. Try Ascending Hearts for free. AscendingHearts.com.
Imagine yourself being transported to India, to the banks of the Ganga and an ashram in Rishikesh. Visualize that you are welcome to satsang with an American sannyasi who shares the wisdom of her guru. Your visualization has manifested. Join Sattvi Bhagawati Saraswati for inspiration and transformation every Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio.
Coping 19, brought to you by CDC and the Ad Council.
With everything going on, there may be times you feel like you can't handle it all. Journaling, meditating, and talking with friends and family can help you feel more grounded and better able to cope. Your kids are also going through a lot of new experiences, and simply talking with them about their feelings can be quite powerful.
Find more self-care and coping tips at coping-19.org.
So I'm going to toot our own horn right now and let you know that we are on OMTimes every Wednesday, and we love OMTimes. We're very grateful to be here. And our podcast was picked up by iHeartRadio. So those of you listening to us may not realize that you do have a choice when you get to listen. There is an archive that's posted of our show within 24 hours on OMTimes Radio. And you can also find us on iHeartRadio and make us a favorite and listen to us there. So that's very exciting. That happened to us at the very beginning of the month this month.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. So I was thinking about how the relationships, when you were talking before we went off to break, how the relationships, I think every single time we claim a little bit of our power back, or we have an enlightening moment about our own boundaries or what we'll accept or what we won't, which is that tiny bit of power, it automatically, exponentially it's like a hovercraft. It just goes up a tiny bit. And I just feel like when we go up a tiny bit, I'm not saying anybody beneath it is not an equal, but this is the way we talk as humans. So every time we do this, we go up a little bit. I think most of the people come into our lives reflect that growth or are a lesson to show us what we don't want. Remember, you were here before. You remember? Don't bite the bait. Keep looking ahead.
It's a learning opportunity, right? It's a learning opportunity, right? And sometimes those are the teachable moments, and that's when we learn how to stand up for ourselves, and that we matter, and that we're important, and that sometimes we also recognize that we weren't putting ourselves, in a how would I say, in a healthy space.
Oh,
right?
Never mind.
It's so important to be in a healthy space, right? Yes. We want to be in a healthy space. We don't want to choose, an unhealthy state in any type of relationship, right? And that's important for us to be able to say, okay, I feel really respected in this relationship. I feel heard in this relationship. I feel seen in this relationship. I feel a blend in this relationship. This relationship feels good to me. And when it doesn't feel good, I'm not saying, push it out quickly. What I'm saying is, if it doesn't, then let's look at this relationship. What is this relationship about? Why did this relationship become what it became? And where are you moving? And what are you thriving to do? And what part, what part or what story is holding this relationship together in this space, time, and dimension, right? Because it's so important to be able to say, okay, I understand. Okay, I'm learning this from this relationship. Okay, and then there are other times when we're saying, I'm so done with this relationship because I can't get anything else out of this relationship that I think that is going to be proactive or productive for me or for them, right? And it's a balance, right? Because there has to be a balance between the two people. So that's a very important place and understanding.
I think it's also really important to look at where you came from. It's like where you came from, because some things are just entrenched in us, and we, this is a different topic. We've talked about it, but it's important to look at where you came from. And some of that is just time, like I was saying with Willie Nelson, and, experience and growth. But seeing how does, my best friend in high school's family act versus my family? What are the dynamics? Because some of these things we can be triggered into, I grew up in a lot of chaos. I do very well in a lot of chaos. In my very early years, I had a lot of chaos. And so I'm very familiar with the energy of chaos. It's comfortable to me because I know it's familiar. That doesn't mean that it's healthy for me. And I have learned to see the gifts of the chaos, but also how to unattach myself from the frequency of that chaos in certain relationships because of the experiences I've gained to be objective, to look within me, right?
Right.
And I think it's important to say that because people out there may be listening and may feel like they're trapped in a relationship or feel like they can't move to the next level where they want to go. And again, just like we said last week, it's always an inside job, right? A time in or reflection with, an amazing light worker like Marilyn or myself. And, there's lots of people out there that can help you on the next step. But ultimately, it's like you got to do that work. You're the only one who can.
And only we can do the work, right? It's like,
that's right.
I can only do my own work for myself, and you can only do your own work for yourself. Like, if you're thinking that somebody else is going to be able to do the work for you, it's not going to happen that way.
Doesn't work.
You can have someone help to open up, some of that information. You can so that you can tap in, and you can have somebody work with you so that you can learn how to tap in, when you can't go to see somebody as well.
Yeah.
But you have to do the work, because what good is getting all this information and then just having it and not doing anything. I have to say that I knew people who would do that, and they would do, every single workshop that ever existed. I felt like, my goodness, another one. But what are you getting out of it? Because you need to be getting something out of it. And is something changing in your life when you're doing these things? Yes. Have you created a something even as tiny? It doesn't even have to be huge, but it just needs to show up so that you can, but if you're just collecting, right? Remember, if you're just collecting the information, gathering it, and you're not using it, then it really isn't. It isn't going to do anything to uplift you and to help you to move out of the energy that maybe you want to move out of, right? It's practicing. It's setting something in practice and then doing it constantly until you feel that it's a part of who you are now, right?
That's true with everything. That's true with everything in growth. And, for me, it's like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Keep going, 2 steps forward, 1 step. And
celebrate those steps.
Yes.
Celebrate
it's not
the steps.
The destination. It's the experience of. Boy, oh boy, this is kind of like a really big topic. To talk about today, and we don't ever have scripts. We barely pre-plan anything when we talk. We have a little synopsis of where we want to start in our day with this show.
And then life happens, and we just, we kind of roll with the punches.
Yes. But I do think that it's important, in our society, look, in our society, let's just talk about America, okay, just for a minute, because I'm an American, okay? And I say that with that Rosie the Riveter arm, because there's a lot of self-entitlement that comes, I think, with being an American these days. And this is just my opinion. You guys don't have to agree with me or even like what I'm saying. It's okay. I can handle it. I'm a big girl. But, we take a pill for everything. Here's a pill. Take this pill. This will fix it. But a lot of times it's just a Band-Aid covering up something. And that's exactly what we're talking about. It's like, empower yourself to say, like, what is this little pill really doing? Maybe I need it temporarily. Maybe I do need it the rest of my life. But I have to the reason I need this pill maybe is showing me that I need to up my self-care, up something, look at something, change something. I think that the society tries to disempower us and keep us in division, because it's a lot easier to keep us in rule if we're addicted to our phones and on pills and being oblivious, and everyone's going to fix us.
Yeah,
The
so
only
maybe
person that
today,
yes.
so
Go
maybe
ahead.
today we can step out of something and start something,
That's
change
right.
and
Take
shift
one
and recover,
step.
right? So
Yes.
like I have written something, and I'm going to read it because I think it fits in this space too. So I have an unstoppable spirit and can co-create all that I desire. I trust my vision and act accordingly, remaining true to what I most value and desire, which can manifest in many forms. I am enough. I matter. What is behind me doesn't define me. I
No.
am learning. I am learning. And, because it's important for us to recognize that we are learning. We are constantly learning, and we're shifting, and it's okay. And it's important for us not
think
to
that's so
criticize
important.
ourselves, right? Because
What
when
you
we
said,
self-criticize,
yes. And define what's behind me does not define
it
me.
does not.
That is
and it
so
never
powerful.
has. And it
No.
never has. And so, but what happens is that we, when we were younger, we probably felt that. You know what I mean? Like we probably felt those feelings. And then it's a part of our story, and it's a part of our belief. And until we recognize
Yep.
that it doesn't define who we are now, right? You are different. You are,
That's
you
right.
have expanded, you have grown, right? This is so important for us to recognize, right? So to recognize our feelings, our thoughts, our beliefs, our belief systems. What's the story? What's the internal dialogue? Let's switch that. If we're talking to ourselves really, harshly, let's start loving ourselves more. Let's start talking beautifully to ourselves, right? Let's take a look at the relationships that we have in our lives, and let's find the sacred in every single relationship that we have, because it really truly is important.
Especially the one with ourselves.
Yes.
The one thing we're guaranteed in this life, the one relationship we are promised, guaranteed, locked in stone, is we're going to grow old or we're going to grow young, whatever it is, it's with us. That's the one relationship that you are guaranteed.
And you can't run from yourself.
You can't.
No. Sometimes people say, well, I'm going to move here, or I'm going to go do that, and I'm going to change this job, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do this. And I say, hold on.
Yeah.
We are not
Yeah.
running. You're trying to outrun yourself, and you
wherever
cannot.
you go, there you are.
There you are. So
There
what's
you
important?
are. Same issues. Same inside issues.
Yeah, so let's go inside. Let's go inside. Let's
Yeah.
recognize the feelings. Let's recognize
Yeah.
the thoughts that we're having, our belief systems, and then let's work that out, right? Because we want to have a sacred relationship with ourselves,
Yes.
right?
Yes,
This is all important.
that is why we're here, right? Not just to be self-absorbed in ourselves, but to grow as a species, as humans, to evolve. It's like the people that I see this so many times. Nothing ever changes. Nothing changes. And it's like, well, you're going to have to change if you want those changes to happen.
And it's not even
And
just
it's not
you.
a judgment.
It's the
No.
story. It's the story that we
Yes.
have that's connected to who we believe we are and why the things are happening to us. And instead of saying this is happening for me, why? Because it's helping me to take a better look at me and the relationships that I'm having and the relationships that I put myself into and what I'm choosing. And now giving me the power to be able to say, well, you know what? I will not be choosing this any longer because it doesn't feel good. And if it doesn't feel good, I don't want it.
Yes. Perfect example. What's the worst thing that could happen? what's the best thing that could happen?
Yeah,
right? It's just one word. And we all grew up with what's the worst thing that could happen.
I know.
Well, let's look at that. No, what's the best thing that could happen? Let's look at that. Let's raise
I like
the
that.
vibe. Let's go for the big wig dream, right? The pie in the sky, you know? That's gumption.
Yeah.
I wish I could give everybody a little dose of gumption. Oh, I do. I know I got passion in every little cell I have. I'm a very passionate little fire spark. So probably I'm too much for some people. And you know what? That's okay too.
Well, yeah, you know, but I don't think you are. I think you are beautiful.
I think
and power filled and you know, there's always wisdom that comes out, right? Because it's important for us to recognize that. Yes, you know,
we gotta
beautiful.
Wrap up our
so we
show.
gotta go.
We gotta go. Peace.
Thank you so much, everybody. Blessings, love, and light to all.
Yep.
And let's shift something today. Woohoo!